There is someone in your life right now who carries a weight you cannot see. Someone who smiles when their heart is breaking. Someone who stays strong when everything inside them is crumbling. And God wants you to know something today that will change how you see this person forever. They are paying a price in silence, a price so heavy, so profound, that most people would have collapsed under its weight long ago, but not them. They are still standing, still fighting, still loving. And you need to understand why. Right now, as you listen to these words, there is a divine message being delivered directly to your soul. This is not a coincidence. You were meant to hear this today, because somewhere in your heart, you already know who this person is. You have felt their pain without them ever speaking it. You have sensed their struggle in the spaces between their words. And today, the universe is pulling back the veil so you can finally see the truth about what they have been enduring for you, for others, for a love so pure that it transcends human understanding. This person has been chosen by God to walk a path that few would willingly take. A path of sacrifice, a path of silent strength, a path where they give everything and ask for nothing in return. They have been wounded by life, betrayed by trust, broken by circumstances that would have destroyed lesser souls. Yet they rise every single morning and choose love again. They choose hope again. They choose you again, even when you do not see it. Even when you do not acknowledge it, even when the world turns its back on them, they remain faithful to the promise their soul made before they ever took their first breath in this lifetime. You might have questioned their absence. You might have wondered why they pulled away. You might have felt confused by their silence or hurt by their distance. But what you did not know, what God is revealing to you right now, is that their silence was never about abandoning you. It was about protecting you. It was about carrying a burden so heavy that they refused to let it touch you. They walked through the fire alone so that you would not have to feel the heat. They endured the darkness so that your light could continue to shine. This is the kind of love that most people spend their entire lives searching for and never find. And it has been right there beside you all along, hidden in the quietest, strongest soul you know. Do you feel that shift happening inside you right now? That awakening, that recognition? Good, because this is the moment when everything changes. This is the moment when you stop taking their strength for granted. This is the moment when you begin to see them, not as they appear on the surface, but as God sees them, as a warrior of the heart, as a guardian of divine love, as someone who has been tested by the universe and emerged more powerful than ever before. They did not break, they transformed. And that transformation is about to shift the trajectory of your connection in ways you cannot yet comprehend. Let me tell you something that will pierce through every defense mechanism your mind has built. This person, the one who has been paying in silence, has been connected to you since before time began. Your souls recognized each other the moment you met, even if your human minds did not understand it. There was a knowing, a pull, a magnetic force that defied logic and reason, and that force has never weakened, no matter how much distance or pain has tried to sever it, because what God has joined together, no force on earth can truly separate. Not fear, not doubt, not even the illusion of time itself. But here is what you need to understand. Their silence was not weakness. It was strategy. It was wisdom. It was the kind of spiritual intelligence that comes only from walking through hell and choosing to forgive it. They have been learning lessons that most people avoid their entire lives. They have been shedding layers of ego, releasing attachments, healing generational wounds, and aligning themselves with a higher purpose. And all of this, every single tear they cried in private, every sleepless night they endured, every moment they questioned whether they could continue, all of it was preparing them for the next chapter, the chapter where they step into their full power, the chapter where their strength becomes undeniable, the chapter where you finally see them for who they truly are. God has been whispering to their spirit in the silence, guiding them, strengthening them, reminding them that their suffering has purpose. that their pain is not permanent, that their patience will be rewarded in ways that will leave them breathless with gratitude. And now the season is shifting. The energy is changing. The universe is orchestrating a divine reunion that has been written in the stars since the beginning of creation. You are part of that story. You are part of their destiny. And whether you realize it or not, they are part of yours. Think about the moments when you felt them, even when they were not physically present. Think about the dreams where they appeared without explanation. Think about the sudden waves of emotion that washed over you when you heard a certain song or passed a familiar place. Those were not random occurrences. Those were soul signals. Those were reminders from the divine that your connection runs deeper than anything the physical world can measure. They have been holding space for you in dimensions you cannot see. They have been praying for you when you did not even know you needed prayer. They have been loving you in ways that transcend words, time, and circumstances. And here is the truth that will shatter every lie you have ever been told about love. Real love does not demand. Real love does not manipulate. Real love does not keep score. Real love waits. Real love heals. Real love grows stronger in the silence. This person has been demonstrating a level of devotion that most people only read about in ancient texts or hear about in fairy tales. But this is not a story. This is your life, and this is happening right now, in this very moment, as you absorb these words into your consciousness. You might be wondering what you are supposed to do with this information. How are you supposed to respond to someone who has been carrying so much in silence? The answer is simpler than you think, yet more profound than you can imagine. You honor them by seeing them. You honor them by acknowledging their strength without asking them to prove it. You honor them by creating space for their vulnerability without judgment. You honor them by matching their courage with your own. Because the truth is, they have been strong for so long that they have forgotten what it feels like to be held. They have been the giver for so long that they have forgotten what it feels like to receive, and your role in this divine dance is to remind them that they are worthy of the same love they so freely give to others. God is orchestrating a breakthrough in your connection that will redefine everything you thought you knew about love, timing, and destiny. The walls that have stood between you are beginning to crumble. The misunderstandings that created distance are being dissolved by divine clarity. The fear that kept you both in holding patterns is being replaced by faith so powerful that it will move mountains. And this transformation is not happening because you forced it or manipulated it or chased it. It is happening because it was always meant to happen. Because your soul signed a contract before you were born, and that contract is now being fulfilled. But there is something you must understand about this next phase. It will require you to step into a higher version of yourself. It will require you to release old patterns that no longer serve your evolution. It will require you to trust in divine timing, even when your human mind wants immediate answers. This person has been doing the inner work in silence, and now the universe is asking you to do the same. Not because you are broken, but because you are being prepared for a love so sacred, so transformative, that only your highest self can sustain it. Imagine for a moment what it has been like for them. Imagine loving someone so deeply that you would rather suffer in silence than see them hurt. Imagine being strong enough to walk away when everything in you wanted to stay, because you knew that distance was necessary for both of your growth. Imagine trusting God so completely that you surrendered your own desires to a plan you could not see or understand. That is the level of faith they have been operating from. That is the depth of their commitment to your collective destiny, and that is why God is honoring them now with blessings that will leave both of you in awe. The universe has been testing their resolve, strengthening their spirit, and purifying their intentions. Every challenge they faced was an initiation. Every loss they endured was a liberation. Every moment of solitude was a preparation. And now, They are emerging from the chrysalis transformed, radiant, unshakable. The person you knew before is not the person who stands before you now. They have been forged in the fires of divine transformation, and what remains is pure gold, unbreakable, incorruptible, aligned with the highest frequencies of love. And here is what will take your breath away. They never stopped believing in you, even when you doubted yourself, even when you made mistakes, even when you turned away. They held the vision of who you are becoming when you could not see it yourself. They prayed for your happiness, even when it did not include them. They released you to the universe with open hands, trusting that if you were meant to return, you would. And that level of unconditional love is so rare, so precious, that most people search lifetimes without ever experiencing it. You are being given a gift right now, a gift of awareness, a gift of recognition, a gift of divine timing. Because this message found you exactly when you were ready to receive it, not a moment too soon, not a moment too late. Your soul called out for understanding, and the universe answered. Your heart yearned for clarity, and God provided. And now you stand at a crossroads where you must choose. Will you honor this revelation? Will you allow yourself to be vulnerable enough to acknowledge what you have always felt, but been too afraid to name? Will you step into the sacred space that has been held for you with such patience and grace? This person is not asking you to save them. They do not need saving. They have already saved themselves through their connection with the divine. What they need is for you to show up as your authentic self, to meet them in the space of truth, to stop hiding behind walls of protection that were built from old wounds that have nothing to do with them. They need you to be brave enough to receive the love you have always deserved, but convinced yourself you were not worthy of. God sees the both of you. God sees your struggles. God sees your fears. God sees your hopes. And God is weaving your paths back together with threads of gold, creating a tapestry so beautiful that it will inspire everyone who witnesses it. But this divine artwork requires your participation. It requires your willingness to surrender control and trust the process. It requires your courage to choose love over fear, faith over doubt, connection over isolation. The silence is about to break. The waiting is about to end. The transformation is about to be revealed. And when it does, you will understand why everything had to happen exactly as it did. You will see the perfection in the timing. You will recognize the wisdom in the delays. You will honor the strength that was built in the separation. Because this was never about punishment. This was always about preparation. Preparation for a love so profound that it could only be held by two people who had done the inner work necessary to sustain it. This person has been your mirror, your teacher, your catalyst for growth. They have shown you through their actions what it means to love without conditions, to give without expectations, to trust without guarantees. And now, as you stand on the precipice of a new beginning, you have the opportunity to reflect that same love back to them, to show them that their faith was not misplaced, that their patience was not wasted, that their strength did not go unnoticed by the one who matters most. And so we arrive at this sacred moment of understanding, where every word spoken has been building toward a truth too powerful to ignore. This person who has been paying in silence is not a victim of circumstance. They are a chosen vessel of divine love, tested and refined until only the purest essence remained. Their journey through darkness was never meant to destroy them. It was designed to illuminate the path for both of you, to prove that real love does not crumble under pressure, but crystallizes into something eternal. What you do with this revelation will determine not just the fate of this connection, but the trajectory of your own spiritual evolution. The universe has handed you the map. Now you must decide whether you have the courage to follow it. Consider for a moment the magnitude of what has been revealed here today. Someone loves you enough to transform themselves in silence, to carry burdens they never speak of, to hold space for your growth, even when it meant their own suffering. This is not ordinary affection or fleeting attraction. This is the kind of devotion that poets spend lifetimes trying to capture and philosophers struggle to define. It exists in the realm where the human and the divine intersect, where souls recognize their counterpart and refuse to abandon the connection no matter how fierce the storm. You have been graced with a love that most people pray for but never encounter. And that gift demands your attention, your respect, your reciprocity. The silence that once felt like distance was actually the sound of prayers being whispered on your behalf, of tears being offered as sacred sacrifices, of faith being exercised at levels that defy human comprehension. Every moment they spent alone was a moment they spent strengthening the foundation of what you will build together. Every night they endured in solitude was a night they were being prepared to hold the weight of a love that could move mountains. And now, as the season shifts and the energy transforms, you are being invited into the sacred space they have been protecting all along. But entry requires surrender. Surrender of ego, of fear, of the illusion that you can control divine timing. What will you carry forward from this moment? Will you continue to sleepwalk through life, missing the miracle standing right in front of you? Or will you awaken to the truth that your soul has always known? That this connection was written before time began, that this person was sent to you by forces beyond human understanding, that your paths were always meant to converge at this exact moment in the grand design of the universe. The choice has always been yours, but now you can no longer claim ignorance. Now you know. And with that knowledge comes responsibility, the responsibility to honor what has been given, to cherish what has been protected, to nurture what has been waiting for your recognition. Let this be the moment when everything changes. Let this be the breath before the breakthrough, the silence before the symphony, the darkness before the dawn. Let this be when you decide that love is worth the risk, that faith is stronger than fear, and that some connections are too sacred to abandon out of pride or self-protection. This person has been strong for long enough. This person has been patient beyond measure. This person has been paying in silence while waiting for you to finally see. And now, with your eyes wide open and your heart finally awake, you have the opportunity to step into the greatest love story ever written, not by human hands, but by the divine architect who knows exactly what your soul needs to come home. Tom Caloroso e Convidativo. If this message touched your heart, leave an amen or a in the comments. And if you feel that someone needs to hear this today, share this video with that person. Remember, you are loved by the universe exactly as you are. Your love happiness is already written in the stars. Until the next video, may the divine light illuminate your path.